I took both the CTET papers 1 and 2 in January 2023, and this was my result. As you can see, it is the session of 2022 December, and I have 30 out of 30 in CDP in paper 1 and 29 out of 30 in CDP in paper 2. I attempted both the papers, and I have a total of 126 out of 150 in paper 1 and 124 out of 150 in paper 2. Now, this was the time when a B.Ed student could take up both paper 1 and paper 2, and this was an online test. My exam date was 13th January 2023. I am Dr. Swasti, and I help teachers and to-be teachers clear the CTET in the first attempt. In this video, I would like to talk about why I took the exam, my motivation, what was my preparation strategy, and what is it that I learned about self-studying for the CTET. And the reason I would like to do that is so that you can learn my preparation strategy and also what needs to be done in case you wish to go the CTET journey all alone by yourself. So let's dig in. By qualification, I'm a teacher educator and I've done my MEd and my PhD in education. Until 2021, I used to teach in a teacher training college affiliated to Mumbai University. I have cleared both the NET and the SET, and since 2015, I have been training my students, the teacher trainees, to clear various teacher exams such as the CET and the CTET. So why did I take the CTET, which is a school teacher's qualification? Well, this is because since 2021, when I left my college job and I started my own venture, which is the Teacher Exam Solutions, through which I train teachers for various exams, especially the CTET, I thought it would be morally wrong for me to train students for an exam that I have not taken myself. So that's why I did my CTET. But here are 3 reasons as to why you should do your CTET. First, you're a school teacher, and the NEP 2020 has made it mandatory for all school teachers in India to be TET qualified, that is a teacher eligibility test qualified, by the year 2030. Even if it hasn't come to your state as yet, it will come soon. And so if you're a school teacher, then definitely you should qualify yourself for the CTET. Otherwise, you could be a teacher trainee, a DL-Ed or a B.Ed student. And if you're in your final year, especially if you're in your final year, you can definitely attempt the CTET and qualify it. And this gets added on to your CV. So you are absolutely fully qualified when you're applying for a job. And third, if you aim to work in a government school, that is, you want to be a government school teacher, then the CTET is mandatory before you apply for the government job. Now that you have made up your mind to do the CTET, the next 2 questions are how to prepare for it and whether you can do it alone. Yes, you definitely can. Here's how. These are the exact steps I took to prepare for my exam. I took the decision to appear for the CTET in March 2022, and that gave me 7 months to prepare for the exam. This is because after the COVID, after the exam of 2020, for 2 years, the CTET exam was held as month-long sessions in the months of December, January, that is December 2021, January 2022, and December 2022 to January 2023. Then from August 2023, it has come back to being an offline one-day exam. So I knew that I had 7 months to train not only myself, but also my students so that we could attempt and clear it in one go. I had already completed my first batch of students, that is my Masterclass 1, and 3 out of the 5 students had already cleared their CTET, either both or at least in any one of the papers. I decided to appear for the CTET with my second batch of students, that is Masterclass 2, and appear for both the papers. So my first step had been already done before when I took my Masterclass 1, but that was to sit down and identify the exam structure, the exam pattern, and understand the syllabus and the marking scheme. Now, this is all available on the CTET website, that is ctet.nic.in, and you get all the information there regarding the syllabus, the number of subjects, the marks, what is the exam pattern, what is the scoring key. So I began with all that as step 1. As my second step, I sat down and solved the previous year papers, PYPs, and I did this to understand a few things. First, what is the difficulty level of the questions? Second, what is the language of the question? Third, the oft repeated papers. Remember, the CTET has a set syllabus which doesn't change So there are just only that many questions which can be asked, and many of the topics are repeated. And finally, I sat down to understand the different ways in which a question is asked. Now, from the same topic or the same content, the question can be asked in various ways. In fact, I've done a dedicated video on this called The Same Topic and the Different Ways in Which a Question Can Be Asked. And I will link it up in the cards out here and in the description. And you can see that later. And once I was clear with this, that is step 1 and step 2, I moved on to the third part, which is learning. There is a good part and the bad part to the CTET exam. Let me tell you the bad part first. The syllabus is vast. And remember, both my students and I, we were studying for both the papers, paper 1 and paper 2. But the good part is, as I said, the syllabus is limited. It is connected to the NCERT textbooks, and the topics that we would study were well defined. So my strategy was to focus on concept-based learning. It was essential to learn the core concepts of any topic. The style of the exam is such that when you're learning any topic, let's say Piaget's theory of cognitive development, then if you are going to study it from a B.Ed student's point of view or a theoretical point of view, where in the exam you will be asked to write, that's not how CTET works. CTET has MCQs. So you basically just need to understand the core concepts so that when the question is asked, you can identify the correct option. And this Pareto principle, that is 20% of learning leads to 80% of the results. I use this Pareto principle not only for my learning, but this is the exact same strategy that I gave to my students in the masterclass. Once the core learning was over, and that took us 2.5 to 3 months, we moved on to the next step, which was PYP or previous year paper solving. Now I have a set way in which this is done. Let me share that. Step 1 is start small and don't look at the time. Now I don't mean don't measure yourself. We used to set up a timer, but we started with one section, generally CDP, and we would keep 30 minutes aside and solve 30 questions. The focus was on solving all the 30 questions and not look at the time. We would measure ourselves, of course, to see whether we took less than 30 minutes or more than 30 minutes, but the focus was on ensuring that we solved all the questions. The second was to score ourselves, and I do it two ways. I ask my students to write a confidence score, that is, how much do they think they have got right, and then check the results where they actually score themselves and compare. You'll be surprised to know that some of the students actually underscore themselves. They actually get more marks, but they feel that they have done less. Now, what is the purpose of this? The purpose of this is to figure out what is it that you need to relearn, what is it that you need to revise. There is no point in giving a PYP over and over again without relearning and revising what you already know. If it's something you know, you revise it. If it's something new, you learn it. Once that was done, we would do another set of PYPs. And this was a rinse and repeat procedure, and we would do it till we achieved two objectives. One is to ensure that we can solve all 30 questions of a section within 30 minutes. That's the time you get. And two, we can score 22 out of 30 or more. It is my experience, if you can solve 5 to 6 PYPs, then you're good to go. We were all good to go, but as a final step, in the last 10 days before the exam, I asked my students, and I always ask my students, to join the mock tests which are available. There are many companies on the internet which gives free or very reasonably priced mock tests. That is because you get out of your comfort zone and you start solving questions which have been asked and said by others. So that's what I did for CTET preparations, not only my CTET preparations, but this is the exact same strategy that I followed with my students, and it helped me not only prepare them, it also helped me hone up the content that I taught. And I'm sure that by following these same exact steps, you too can solve your CTET in your first attempt. Thanks for watching this video.